couple months, you're going to have 2 fewer hours a day to deal with it.
I'm going to have to crate my kids, I think, more often. What?
What?
No, I didn't say that out loud, I guess.
Yeah, that should have gone inner monologue there.
That's the Roundtable of Extreme Liberty with your hosts, Alan Gordius and Crystal Schoonveld, Tuesday nights at 10 p.m. Eastern on Vigilant Liberty Radio.
We want to welcome Michael Moore to Occupy Wall Street. I'm so impressed by what I'm seeing here.
How much of people's income do you, Michael Moore, want the government to confiscate?
Probably twice what we're paying right now.
It's not envy, it's war.
Where's the rage? Where's the uprising?
Storm the doors of the New York Stock Exchange.
It is a class war.
If the wealthy paid their fair share. For a documentary filmmaker, I do really well. I'm very blessed.
And the rich thought poverty was bad.
I do well.
They get rid of it.
What pure? There's nothing pure about capitalism.
And they know what's coming on Wall Street.
We're seeing the end of capitalism. And I say good riddance.
He is one of my favorite capitalists. Yeah, I want to give him a hug.
This is Chuck Dixon, the co-creator of Bane, and you're listening to Vigilant Liberty Radio.
And we do have some breaking news here on Vigilant Liberty Radio for those who have been paying attention to what has been going on regarding American Sniper and the man accused of killing Chris Kyle, Eddie Ray Routh. A jury has been seated in the trial of Eddie Ray Routh, who is obviously accused of shooting him to death on February 2nd, 2013. Opening statements are expected on Wednesday. It's a jury of 2 men and 10 women in Erath County, a little bit south of Fort Worth. Security is going to be stepped up, and we will see what happens there. That includes a 24/7 security surrounding the Justice Center, and will continue on during the duration of the trial. A judge said that he would not change the venue for the trial because he has considered the evidence and pretrial publicity and does not think that has affected the defendant's ability for a fair trial. Now back to the Edge of Anarchy with your host, Amanda.
And I've got it on some not-so-good authority that Brian Williams will be there.
What will Brian Williams going to be on the jury?
Yes.
How could Brian Williams be on the jury? He was one of the witnesses.
Or did Brian Williams...
He was there when it happened.
Or was Brian Williams... Or was it really Brian Williams that shot Chris Kyle?
Ooh.
No, we aren't going there. But Brian Williams was there when Chris Kyle did all his kills.
Yes.
Oh, God, he was the spotter.
Exactly.
Yes. We are going to be laughing at Brian Williams forever.
Well, Brian Williams will probably... Brian Williams is brilliant. Brian Williams will probably never go back on the air.
No.
He's done.
No. He's didn't he just sign a contract too with NBC for millions of dollars?
Yep. Yep.
I want to get paid millions of dollars to make things up. How do I do that? Steal Twilight fan fiction. That's how I do that.
Absolutely.
That's how I do it. Forget Brian Williams and being a news anchor and all that. I'm going to go troll some fan fiction sites after this.
There you go.
Yes. Write
millions.
Write some Twilight fan fiction.
Yes. Also, breaking news. I found out just before I came on the show. John Kasich said, "All options are on the table. I have just not made a decision. It won't take me forever to decide this, but I'm not ready to decide it. I won't decide on anyone's timeline but mine." So there you have it.
So John Kasich's running for president.
He may. He may.
The legions of people who think Jeb Bush and is too conservative are going to be waiting for this.
Oh, yeah. I can't say too much about the man or my opinion about the man due to my job, but that's just an update on that situation. I thought I'd throw that in the chat room for individuals because
the chat on this should be interesting.
Huh?
Yes, the chat should be interesting on this, on Kasich.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you might have to read some of the comments though. Yeah, so if anything good pops up on that story, you guys will have to say it. But just had to throw that out there since I happened to come across that tonight.
Well, here I'll say something positive about the man. If you like Common Core, Medicaid expansion in the name of Jesus, he's your guy.
Yeah, if you're into that, sure. If you're into that. Gosh. Man.
No comment.
Right. So, Kevin, I know that you had wrote something for the Liberty Papers on an Article 5 convention.
Yes.
And why don't you tell us about, what you wrote and your opinion on that? Because I know that this was an important article that you wrote, and I want to give you an opportunity to discuss that here.
Sure. Sure. One of the things, for those of you who may not know what's going on here is, in 2013, it really picked up steam in 2013 when Mark Levin wrote his book, The Liberty Amendments. And he proposed an Article 5 convention as a way of implementing them. Article 5 of the U.S. Constitution, one of the paragraphs of it deals with amending the Constitution. There's two ways to amend it. The first way to amend it is how we've amended it 27 times since it was written, which is Congress passes an amendment by 2/3 majority and the states ratify it by 3/4. 3/4 of the states ratify it. Article 5 convention, what it does is 2/3 of the states call for a constitutional convention, and they can propose amendments, and then they have to be ratified by 3/4 of the states. I think this is not a very good idea. The Article 5 convention, which is through the states, is not a good idea because to boil it down to is I'm afraid what would result to get the 3/4 states to sign on to something.
Mm-hmm.
What you're probably more likely to have is basically the bad ideas of every side, of every political ideology in this country, just to get something through, put into the Constitution, and the Constitution would look a lot different than what it is today. For example, you might get an amendment to overturn Citizens United from the left. You might get hate speech restrictions. You might get weakening of the Second Amendment. You'll probably get goofy states' rights, quote states' rights stuff from the right. You'll probably get basically it's going to be a bunch of bad ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how anything good come out of this.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got legislation pending in I think 22 states that would call for a convention. But so I just put that out there basically to argue why that's not a good idea.
Do you think that it would ever happen?
As it stands now, I would say no. And because you would likely, I'm just doing some quick math here. What's 2/3 of 50?
I'm a girl. Math is hard for me.
Just doing some quick math. You probably need 27, I believe, to call a convention. And you need 34 states have to sign off. 34.
Okay.
34 states to call a convention, and you've got to have 38 sign off on what comes out of it. Right now, I don't think there's 34 states that would call an Article 5 convention right now.
Mm-hmm.
But if they decide,
I could see it happening in our lifetime, but not right now. I think we're getting to a few tipping points. And growing up, the pendulum between right and left would take quite a long time to shift. And I think it's historically accurate to say that about every 10 years or so, America would shift more right than left. Now it seems so rapidly going back and forth, and people being so fed up with everything. I could say easily within the next 10 years, something like that happening if things don't change. But as they stand today, I can't see something like that happening.
No, and right now, if it ever would happen, it would be have to be something cross-partisan and populist. Move to get it done. The last time, the closest we ever came to an Article 5 convention was back in the early 1900s, and that was when Congress eventually preempted it by passing the 17th Amendment. And there was a groundswell to make all senators popularly elected back in the Progressive era.
Mm-hmm.
So Congress preempted it by passing the 17th Amendment and sending it to the states, and it was ratified.
Mm-hmm.
That's the closest we've ever come to an Article 5 convention.
Interesting. Good stuff to know, and good stuff to ponder, because even though, it's not going to happen, say, tomorrow, and there is a lot of talk about this, the fact that there is talk about it, and the fact that we are in very, very interesting times, definitely warrants discussion about it.
Indeed. I think it would be a disaster if we ever had one, because essentially everything would be on the table.
Exactly.
At an Article 5 convention.
And it should be noted that both the right and the left are promoting this. Both sides want this.
Absolutely. You've got Mark Levin that wants it on the right, and on the left you got a lot of left-wing groups that want it. So they can, because they want to, and they want to put in a whole bunch of stuff about campaign finance and gun control and stuff like that in their version of Article 5. The worst thing that can happen is the far right and the far left decide they both want to have an Article 5, so they put everything on the table.
Right.
And and remember, our own Constitution originally started out, the Constitutional Convention that wrote our Constitution, that wrote the current Constitution. Remember, that started out with just a mandate just to update the Articles of Confederation.
Right.
And look what came out of that.
Right. It's definitely interesting. It's an interesting idea. I can definitely see the appeal of it. I could see the appeal of doing one of these every few years or whatever, but at the same time, it can be quite scary. I don't know, maybe it just seems that way because we've never done it. Or because it would be so unprecedented.
We have not done one of these since 1787.
So, I don't know. I definitely see the appeal, but I don't know, not right now.
Yeah, and like I said, we've come closest